It is on. Sorry, checking to make sure the mic's on, actually. But of course, no, what I actually meant is the narrative shift. It is time to make Alyssa Thomas the victim. Yes, we are going to follow the playbook. The bully does something bad, they get a reaction, and then they act as if the reaction is the only thing that happened, and they are the poor little victim, and everyone is getting in on the act. If you want to see how a false narrative forms, we are about to go through that. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Truly appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. Y'all rocking hard lately. So I got a few things, got a few clips I want to run through. Now, of course, as you know, except for Sophie Cunningham, which I will get to in this video, I think no one from the Indiana Fever has really said anything, come out in any way in support of Caitlin Clark with what's been going on. But the Phoenix Mercury have gone 10 toes down in painting Alyssa Thomas as the victim here and supporting her and making sure she's okay through this very unfair process of being given a flagrant two, as if she has never gotten a flagrant two in her life, being the dirtiest player to ever play in the WNBA. Yeah, I stand on that. She is the dirtiest player to ever play in the WNBA. Zero basketball skill. Let me be clear. She does not have any basketball skill. She is the typical WNBA player. Bully, physical, big body, slow, can't jump, can't dribble, can't shoot. She's got nothing. And that is why no one has ever watched her. But anyway, let's get into this. So, of course, we're going to start with a clip from one of my favorite people, and I've played clips for her before when I've done videos about how unlikable WNBA players are. And that, of course, is Kalia Copper. So she had some comments about the process and Alyssa Thomas. Let's take a listen.
I mean, we were AT. We just wish it would have been handled the
We with AT. We with AT. Apparently, I went to college, but I can't speak because we with AT.
right way. We wish somebody also would have called her and checked on her and made sure that she was okay. I just don't think it played out how it should have professionally. But losing AT was a lot. So
What the hell did I just hear? I mean, besides the ridiculous, I don't know what that was. I mean, I guess it's English, but how else was it supposed to play out professionally? If you wanted it to be professional, the flagrant two would have been called during the game, and Alyssa Thomas would have been ejected, and then you would have lost. But it actually, and I can't believe I'm saying this with the WNBA, it was pretty much handled professionally. It was reviewed as it should have been. I'm guessing, I'm hoping the Indiana Fever actually sent a tape of it. It was upgraded to a flagrant two. This type of thing happens in the NBA. It happens in the WNBA all the time. It happens in the NFL all the time, where things on the field that actually don't even get called or caught at the time get upgraded, right? Like this is standard stuff. And then being a flagrant two, she's going to miss the next game because a flagrant two is a ejection. So if it comes after the fact, you have to still have that punishment, which means you get suspended for the next game, which we'll get into here in a little later as well, because it's really important because that has been part of the false narrative. Of course, a lot of people had some thoughts on that. So damn unaccountable. Not one of Draymond's teammates came out. And by the way, this is Kalia Copper's not the only one, but they've all basically saying that. Lexi Held came out and said basically the same thing. Not one of Draymond's teammates came out and talked about how they supported him for kicking people in the nuts. The F is wrong with the dumb biatches on the Mercury. I mean, this is the entire league, though, to be fair. If this was not the Mercury, whatever team this was that had a player that did this, it would have been the same thing. F Alyssa Thomas and Kalia Copper, the lesbian NBA. You can't say that, Tiger Lily. Um, their 15 minutes is up, done supporting them and hoping many more feel the same way. I think a lot of people are getting that way. She was the one strangling Caitlin Clark, and you want us to check on her. Miss Copper, you got to be crazy. I'm sorry, but we were watching dangerous double standards play out before our very eyes. And there's a lot more to that, but that's the thing that really blew my mind. Like, check on AT for what exactly? What is it, and why would the league? Because this is what we're talking about here. Why would the league be checking on Alyssa Thomas after that game? What? See, this is where I feel bad for y'all because these are one of those moments where I kind of struggle to give you something insightful and entertaining because it's it's difficult to wrap my brain around and process something so unbelievably deeply stupid. Like it shocks me that Kalia Copper gets dressed in the morning. It really does. If that's considered a thought that comes out of her brain, like what? Check on Alyssa Thomas for what? Now, here we go into the narrative building, right? Because you're starting to see this type of thing everywhere. To this point, look what we got. Kalia Copper, and you heard her, says absolutely insane, deranged, nonsensical stuff as if Alyssa Thomas is somehow the victim. And boom, poof, like magic. Newsweek, folks, how far the mighty have fallen. Newsweek makes that a story. Mercury star. Yeah, there's really no stars in the WNBA. No one has any idea who they are. You get out of this bubble a little bit, and I promise you, the WNBA has not made a dent into the culture. Mercury star gets honest on Alyssa Thomas suspension for Caitlin Clark play, and I'm not going to go through it because it's saying all the same, all the same stuff that we were just saying, and it mentions another quote that I'm going to talk about as well from their coach, which I think we're going to get into right now. Yeah, so let's listen to this is depressingly embarrassing, man. Talk about a beta. I mean, I guess he figures he's a white male coach in the WNBA. He's got to bow down, bend the knee, however you want to call it. But there's some really, I mean, some stuff where I just say personally, in my opinion, how the coach is handling it incorrectly. But then there's some things where he really goes over the line. That's truly disappointing. And wait till you find out who I defend.
I'd like to address the AT situation. First off, the Mercury organization would like to let AT know that she's 100% supported by us.
Again, like, see, it's like they had a team meeting. What the hell does that even mean? Your player, and not for the first time again, it's Alyssa Thomas, committed a flagrant foul. What is this? We want her to know how she's supported. What the hell are you even talking about?
People in this league know who AT is. She's a competitor, she's a winner, and she's tough. The one thing she is not is cheap.
Holy mother of all that is good and pure. I'm glad I haven't hit the caffeine yet because I might start smashing stuff. Like uh, I get the whole rage monster thing, Bruce Banner. I truly do. You you have to be a sociopath to say that with a straight face. The dirtiest player in the history of the WNBA, and you're going to say everyone knows her, and the one thing she is not is cheap. She is the epitome of cheap. She is the poster child for cheap. She is the invention of cheap, my friend. She is the dirtiest player in the history of the league. Wow, that takes some. I don't know what that takes. I was going to say cojones, but I don't think Nate actually has those, so I'm not sure what it took to say that. Although, as you can see, he's reading all of this. Okay, this is a prepared statement.
I respect Steph White. I got to know her with USA Basketball. I
Sorry, I know y'all get mad when I stop often, but I didn't want to skip over that. Think about that for a second, folks. Stephanie White and this clown who's defending what Alyssa Thomas did against Caitlin Clark, those two are on the USA basketball staff. Let me ask you something. Can Caitlin Clark and Alyssa Thomas both be on that team? Is a lot of this being done to make sure Caitlin Clark is not going to be available for that team? I'm just asking the question.
respect her as a coach and a person, and I understand her sticking up for Caitlin in this situation.
Gee, really? How gracious and kind of you, considering Caitlin was the one that was the recipient of multiple dirty plays.
Um, but to say that we had two cheap shots in that game to me is ridiculous.
So I hate to do it, but again, to be fair, and again, I think Stephanie White's was, I don't think she actually meant anything she said, but I'm going to defend her here. For Nate to sit there and say Stephanie White being honest about the dirty plays from the Phoenix Mercury is ridiculous. And this is where I talk about him going over the top, him crossing a line, right? Like you can have a debate on how much he should defend Alyssa Thomas. I think he went way too far. I think really good coaches, when their players do something stupid, they actually come out and say that. And they will say, I mean, he's got to say, hey, look, I mean, he could even spin it this way. Hey, look, Alyssa Thomas, she is a competitor, and we know throughout her career, at times, she lets that competitiveness get the best of her and she crosses the line. And, unfortunately, that's what happened here. And we're going to work to do better in the future. That's what his statement in support of Alyssa Thomas should have been, period. But to go here and when your player's the one at fault and you're going to attack the other coach for defending her player, again, the one who was attacked, that's pathetic stuff, man. That's over the line stuff. That is beta. You kind of disgust me a little bit. That's where I want to throw out the words everyone loves to use to shut people up. Like, I smell a lot of sexism here. I smell a lot of misogyny here. I'm not sure this guy should be coaching in the WNBA if he's going to attack female coaches like that. I'm just saying. Might be something to look into.
Steph knows AT. She was
Yes, she does.
got the opportunity to coach AT for 2 years, and she knows what AT stands for and what
Yes, she does. She sure does. Exactly. AT is a dirty mofo.
she's about. Next, I'd like to hit on my disappointment with the suspension process by our league and our leaders in the W. This was not a thorough investigation, in my opinion. The people involved were not questioned at all. It's extremely disappointing. No one from the league called AT, our security team, or myself about what we felt like happened in this situation.
I mean, oh, I'm going to leave it there for him and just love it. You're freaking stupid, man. Seriously, I know some of y'all get mad because I get a little harsh at times, but I'm just so frustrated with nonsense because either he is deeply stupid or he's a freaking liar, and either one is bad. Because let me explain it to you, dumbass. This was an upgrade. I know this situation makes it kind of weird to say upgrade because usually when you upgrade something like to a flagrant one or a flagrant two, or a technical or whatever it is, there was at least something called in the game, right? And so it makes it a little, I got to do a little more explaining. There was nothing called in the game, which is bad enough. But a flagrant two, and like I said earlier, upgrades happen all the time, even in the NFL with stuff, whether players get fined, punished for something that didn't even get caught on the field, whatever it might be. A flagrant two is an automatic ejection. Okay. So if a flagrant two, let's say she had gotten a regular foul or a flagrant one even, okay, and it's upgraded to a flagrant two. Take Caitlin Clark out of the equation. This is basic stuff. If it gets upgraded, if something gets upgraded to a flagrant two, the player sits out the next game. It's not a separate suspension, which is what everyone is trying to make it out to be, who's trying to make Alyssa Thomas the victim, which is what Nate's trying to do here with, oh my God, they didn't call anyone. They didn't talk to anyone. There wasn't any investigation. There doesn't need to be. There shouldn't be. This is an upgrade of a foul to a flagrant two. The game suspension is automatic because she didn't get ejected during the game like she should have been. End of story. End of story. That's it. There is no investigation. There's not supposed to be an investigation. Now, if they were to look into, is she going, would they, and they're not going to, but in normal sports, looking at a longer suspension because of what happened, because of past history and all of that, then yeah, there's going to be a little more of an investigation. But this is automatic. There's nothing to investigate. There's look at the tape. Do you think, because again, don't keep in mind, in the game, they didn't look at the tape, right? They looked at the tape on the one landing foul. By the way, they looked at the tape to try and give Caitlin Clark a foul of a hostile act on that. But they never looked at they didn't review this during the game, right? It wasn't a regular foul and they looked at it, right? By the way, same thing with Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter was upgraded from foul to flagrant one. If she had been upgraded to flagrant two, it would have been an automatic game suspension. That's just the way it is, Nate. So Nate's being an absolute clown by even bringing this stuff in there, and he's muddying the waters. And he knows that he's gonna all the Hatelins, all the Caitlin Clark haters are just gonna lap this up like the good little brown shirts that they are. It's kind of disgusting, to be fair. To be fair, what else we got here? Okay, now let's listen to Sophie. Finally, and I'm sorry, this is really low. I've got it cranked up as loud as can be. I'll see if in the editing stuff if I can crank it up a little more.
I did not see that happen. I
Right.
don't none of our team saw it happen because I promise you if we would have seen that happen, we would have had her back.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this type of shit happens every single game to her, and
Yeah.
the league and the refs do absolutely nothing about it.
It's been a minute since you got fined on this podcast.
I have, but then like you see the videos of like literally kneeing and cheap shotting C in the throat. Like if she did that to any of our teammates, we'd be pissed. But like
Yeah.
they're definitely targeting her, and the league and the refs do nothing to protect her.
That is all true. And by the way, I was thinking the same thing when he actually mentioned her about her getting fined for that because she probably will. But this is the only player I've heard come out and say anything like this, and it's true. Now, I will dispute with Sophie about we would have had her back. I don't think that's true. Sadly, Sophie would have for sure. Um, but mm, I'm not sure anyone. Michaela Timpson, which might have been, but she wasn't on the court, right? You can't leave that bench area. You get tossed automatically. But yeah, I mean, sadly, that's part of the problem. AB wouldn't have for sure. AB doesn't give a crap about defending Caitlin Clark. Kelsey Mitchell doesn't get anywhere near that stuff. She flat out hates Caitlin Clark. You will never convince me otherwise. I won't even go into all the reasons, but I have facts to back that up. So yeah, so that's part of and that's part of why this stuff I think was allowed to happen because nobody does have Caitlin Clark's back. She's alone. Now I know I just said Sophie would defend her, but come on, y'all know what I'm saying. When she's alone, she's alone.
I mean, let's get into this now. The poster that they dropped last night, like the 30-year commemorative thing, which that you're on it, that's cool. But like
Why would you ever put me on it?
Oh man, I love that. I mean, she's right. No offense to Sophie, but like, yeah, why is she on the 30-year poster, right? That's insane.
But people are up in arms that Caitlin's not on it, and then also watching her get kind of her ass kicked last night. I do see everyone being like, why does the league not protect this person? Like I don't want to get in beef with Kathy either, but it's like it is like she's jealous of her or like
She
thinks that like because she's a bigger face than her or like anyone the WNBA's had that she like won't give her the platform. It's fucking so weird. It's so
It's 100% weird. That's the end of it, man. They didn't get into it more than that. But yeah, but I think that's a big part of it. Obviously, jealousy plays a huge role in all of this. This was just an example. This is we don't really need to get into this, but this is the same type of thing of what I mean, and this is how narratives get out there too, right? This is from a No Cap WBB, but which does some good stuff. But and I like what Andrew does overall. But again, know your stuff if you're going to comment on something important, because he goes and makes the same mistake Nate did that I just talked about. He thinks it was a cheap shot, and AT absolutely snuck CC based on the prior game. True. They missed it in game. Yep. League gave a flagrant. He says that's fine. Suspension doesn't fit the foul. And then seen as if that's, well, no, it does because it's automatic, right? Again, that's the thing. They were not separate. It wasn't, oh, she got a flagrant two. Oh, we're also suspending her. No, the suspension is part of a flagrant two when it gets upgraded after the fact, because in game, a flagrant two is an ejection. Come on now, we gotta do better, man. And then this is just wild. This goes into the whole, again, the narrative shifting and the crap that we have to deal with as Caitlin Clark fans and so forth. And this, again, going back to the victim stuff. I wanted to post about what happened to AT sets a dangerous precedent for black women. Also, how it affects the safety of the black players in the league. However, way too many people on this app are unhinged. I'm not going to allow you to call me whatever you want. look in the mirror, pot, kettle, whatever phrase you want to use, you're unhinged. I mean, seriously, clinically, wouldn't you say this is insane? Like, what are we even talking about here? What happened to Alyssa Thomas? She committed a flagrant foul and got called after the fact, but got called for a flagrant foul. Not that, like, that's it. What are we even talking about? I mean, this is the lady who, based on her history, should have been out of the league a long time ago. She's actually very privileged. What's the dangerous precedent? How does this affect the safety of the black players in the league? They're very, 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 they're the safest people in the world, I would argue. Yeah, man, absolutely wild, 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 wild stuff. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. I will talk to y'all later.